Hi friends, Robin with Palebird Designs, and welcome back to Basics Bootcamp Tumblr Edition, where myself and two other amazing artists will be sharing weekly videos with all the best tips, tricks, and tumbler making secrets. This week, I'm going to be talking about packing, finishing out your cups, and tumbler care cards. So let's get started. This layer is going to be my last layer of epoxy, so you want to start by sanding off any bumps that you may have left along any of those, the pinstriping, and I like to go across the top at this 45-degree angle and use a Scotty peeler on the rim of your cup just to get the majority of the epoxy out of the way. I find it gives me less cleanup once my final layer is on, and I'm less likely to break the seal once cleaning it. So I just keep going through and getting all the extra epoxy off the top, running over any extra bumps with a sanding block, and then wiping it all down so I can add the next layer of epoxy. I usually do the same as all of my other epoxy layers. If you want to add a little bit of mica powder to give it extra sparkle, you can. But just a quick last coat, and then I let it cure. Once that's done, it's ready for its final clean. Get this grip out of the way so we have some room to work. And I have almost no left on my rim. Sometimes if you're spray painting your cups, you'll have a little bit of acetone on the inside, so I use some acetone on a paper towel or on a magic eraser to get that out. For my last coat, I go over the top with a fine grit sanding block. This one's a 220, I believe, just to make sure there's nothing left. And if there's any bumps, I'll go over it again with my Scotty peeler. But because I did that final clean before this layer, I shouldn't have any issues. And then if I have any extra little bumps at the top, with the super fine grit sanding block, I'll go over a little bit on the rim at the very, very top. You can't see if I have any lines or anything because it's up there at the very top. And then it's ready for hand washing. So I wash it like a normal cup. We all probably do dishes. I do have a sponge that I use only for my epoxy tumblers, so I'm not mixing them with anything else or any of my dishes. This sponge is only used for final cleans of my epoxy tumblers. And then I go through and dry my tumbler really well with a paper towel. Make sure you get the inside nice and dry. If those spots dry on their own, you will see water spots on the inside when your customer opens up their cup for the first time. So just make sure it's all really nice and dry. And then we can move on to how I create some of the care cards I use. And now that we're over on my computer screen, I'll show you how I do some of the care cards that I use. I also use a care card by a brand called Care Cards by Gloria that I get on Etsy. I like how they all match. I like that I don't have to make them myself. But once this loads in, I choose a template close to what I would like my layout of my cards to be. And then you can add your own logo, you can add pictures of your cups. You can pretty much do whatever you would like with these cards. There's a lot of freedom in this design system that I really like. So I'll play with it a little bit and then I'll show you the completed card that I normally use. And there's lots of font options and color options to match your logo. And you can do the backs as well. So this is the card that I have been sending out with my new customers. It has a thank you, it has my logo, it has all my socials here at the bottom, and it also gives them a thank you code for first-time buyers for following us. and stuff like that. And I'm adding my TikTok in because when I made these originally, I wasn't really on TikTok. So it's super easy to go back in and edit if you ever need to make changes or anything like that. And then on the back, I put my Tumbler care instructions, which is a file that I got off of Etsy as a clean image to use. And then you'll preview your project before you print it out, front and back. And it'll prompt you to save it so you don't lose any of your progress. And then it'll give you a PDF printable that you can do front and back. Now let's get into packaging. This box is a little big compared to what I usually use, but that's okay. So these are the other care cards that I use from Gloria. I love how they all match. I love that I can get them in tumblers and pins and keychains and everything else she offers. They'll all match. She can customize them with my logo, and I use them for my repeat buyers because they don't need my contact information every time. I also like to include little free gifts. This one's going to my sisters, so they ordered a pen and a couple of free little floating pens for just to keep in their car or anything like that. Pop those in. And then my care cards, I like to put directly into the tumblers, so they have to take it out before they use it. It gives people more of a shot of reading it, making sure it's being cared for correctly, and things like that. And then I repackaged the cups into the boxes and the bubble wrap that they came with. And we'll load everything up into the box. This one's a little big. I didn't have a box that fit both of these cups without a bunch of extra space. I also like to include a little handwritten note with all my orders, thanking them for supporting me. Add the pens in there. And normally I just use the air bags that I get from Amazon because I shop from them way too often. And then for that little back section, I just shove in a piece of bubble wrap to make sure my tumblers don't move up and down in transit. And that's all for this week. Thanks for hanging out. I will link a bunch of the products I use down in the description below. Give us a like and a subscribe if something helped you this week, and I hope you join us next week. Bye, friends.